Welcome to a new episode of Auto FYI. Today, we're going to be talking about how to take off your tire. We're not going to do anything else. We're not checking brakes or suspension. We're not doing anything else. Simply how to change your tire or take off your tire if in case you got a flat, you're doing repairs or anything like that. You'd be surprised how important it is, and there's a few key steps. So I'll show you some of that and give you some tips and everything on that itself. It's very straightforward, very easy, but I'll show you guys and give you the ins and outs and all of it. As you'll probably see here from the before and after videos, I'm doing my brakes. That's why I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. So if you see the change in the brakes, no surprise. But at the same time too, we're gonna go ahead now and change the tires. We'll pull off a tire, put a new one on, and everything like that. But before we do that, I want to give you guys a couple little tips on things to do before. Consider this homework, if you will, in class Auto FYI. The first thing you should do is now, because I'm doing some work at the same time too, I'll be using my jack. But at the same time, if you're out on the road, if this is just, you're not repairing cars just so you get a flat or something like that, you're not going to be using your jack. So get to know what's in your car, okay? And this is very important. A lot of people don't do it, and so it's important, beneficial, and would be incredibly helpful to you later on if something comes up. By what I mean by that is take a couple, half hour in the afternoon, go to the back into your trunk of your car, pull out your jack, whatever jack you have in there, take a look at it, look at its operation, see how it works. I could pull out mine, but it really won't matter because a lot of manufacturers have different jacks and different jack types. So look at your jack, get to know the ins and outs of it and how it works. Also, if you have any special locks, if you have special wheels, higher-end cars or anything like that, and you have locks, make sure not only that you know how to operate your lock and how to use it in conjunction with your wheels, but also make sure you have the locks with you in your car, hidden somewhere. You don't want someone breaking into your car and stealing it. Don't make it obvious, but make sure you have that lock available because if something does happen, you don't have access to a tow truck or CAA or whatever program you may have, then you're going to want to make sure that you have everything available to you. The other thing to note is you want to learn where your jack points are. So let's go underneath the car here. Every car, again, is different, but I'll give you some tips because it's hard to really say. Now, if you look at this car here, my Grand Prix, there's a few parts you could jack it. Now, if a car is newer, see they have here, it's a folded piece of metal. Now, sometimes, especially on the older cars, this was intended to be a jack point, but as time goes, as you can see, obviously there's some rust in the car. It is a pretty old car. So under here, if you jack now, you risk bending some of the material. I never like jacking on here, and I wouldn't recommend doing it, but look under your car to see. So if I'm doing, for example, the back wheel, I look under here, and I'm going to use this. What's this? This is called a trailing arm, or a Pullman arm, depending on what term you use. And I normally would jack right there, right at the joint, the two metal parts right here. I would jack there and lift the car up. Obviously safety first. So, look under your car. Some cars actually have it marked where your jack point is. Some don't. In this case, this car doesn't. There's also a subframe right here. That would be a good jack point too, but some jacks you can't, it's very hard to get to, or you can't. Or there could be, a fuel line or something attached to it. So again, know your car. Look at your car, learn it, see where it is, where's the best spot to jack. So to recap, look in your trunk, see where your stuff is, your jacks, your lug handle, anything like that. Learn any of that stuff. Have any tools you need ready in case you have specialty wheels or anything like that. And of course, learn your jack points, where to jack your car. So now I'm going to go to the second step. Let's actually show you how to take off the wheel. Alright guys, so step one, now I was going to show you how to take off the wheel. So for my car, obviously, again, learn your wheels, learn your jack points. It's very important for the car. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to jack up the car here. I've already got it lined up, my jack itself. So we're just going to start lifting. You see, obviously the car's going to start raising. Now you want to get it to a point where it starts raising up, but at the same time, you don't want the wheel to lose contact with the road below. You want to make sure it's still contacted. That's important just to make your life a little bit easier. I'll show you guys what I mean. So first thing, I gotta take this off. Take off my center cap. Now I have specialty lugs on here because of the type of rim it is. So I've got the tool, put it on, here, and this is why it's important. So I'm going to break this now. I'm going to break each one of these bolts. Now, the reason why it's important is as I'm putting out pressure to loosen each one of these lug nuts, if in the event that I had this wheel had lifted up, when I go and put pressure, the whole wheel would spin. Obviously, if it's off on the road, that's what's going to happen. In this case here, though, the road is still making contact and allowing for pressure. So it's just a matter now of loosening every bolt, every lug nut, I should say. Now, once it's loose, not too loose, do not take them off. You do not want to take these off while it's still in contact with the road. The reason for that, you take off all 4, how many lug nuts you have, then the wheel is essentially just a moving spindle on, it's just moving on the spindle. So you take all these lugs off, you start jacking up or something, the wheel could fly right off. You don't want that, for obvious reasons. So obviously now we're going to go and jack the car up until the wheel clears. Now the wheel, as you can see, can move freely. It's not completely off. Go ahead now. I'm going to take the rest of these off. Some of them may still be snug. Some will come off easy. Hopefully there's no rust or corrosion that will hinder or impede your progress. But hopefully it goes as smooth as this is going right now. There you go. So we're going to go ahead and take off this bottom one here. Oh, and by the way, if you're getting any trouble on some of the lower or upper ones, if you do move the wheel, it'll all of a sudden make it a lot easier because it takes some of the load off the wheel, the pressure. Okay, and one more here. Going to move it up higher. Hold it in. Again, as it starts moving, puts a little bit of pressure on there. Now, you could say obviously I'm using my tools, again, because I'm at home about to do a mechanical job. But obviously if you're out and about, you may not have access to these tools, and that's why I want you to make sure you're learning about what's in your car, because that can make all the difference. You don't want to be in the middle of the night, something happens, you get a flat, and then you're trying to struggle with learning how to use all your different tools and what's available to you right then and there. You want to make sure you know about it before so you have a head start to it. But as you can see, that's it. Tires off, and you're good to go. So let's move on now. We're going to move to the second part, and that's going to be obviously putting the wheel back on. Alright, so you finished whatever work you needed to do, whether it be putting on your spare tire, doing your brakes. As you can see, I've got the new brakes on. Anything you've done your work. You put your wheel back on. As you can see right now, the wheel's not held on by anything. The car is still up. Let me just get in position here for you guys. So you get in. I tend to sit. Hopefully you have space. Like if this is a busy street or something, you don't want to be in the middle of the road. But you know, hopefully you have space. So you sit down. I like to brace my foot at the bottom to hold the tire in, because if you're trying to buckle it like this, because the tire is moving, it's very hard to get the lugs in here. Whether you have a performance rim or a regular rim, it is kind of annoying. And also, if this is like this and you're trying to put this on, it can cause the lug to what's called cross tread, which some of you will know exactly what I mean, some of it may not. But it's essentially, instead of the lug going on straight, it goes on an angle, and that's also very bad. So, you know, I brace it with my foot at the bottom, put lead on one lug, so I put you know, one on. Normally near the bottom to kind of do the work of my foot, let off a little. Again, because of this type of rim that it is, I just have to let off a little bit. Get one kind of snug in a little. And the key to do it is you kind of do it by hand first. Get the bolts on, kind of get them let in. Now, if you notice though, I'm not by any means even getting hand tight. I'll explain why in a second. For now, I'm just getting the lug nuts on. Start a little, give ourselves a little bit of extra play at the side. Okay. So now we've got our lugs. Now the next step is to go hand tight, right? By hand tight, you literally just tighten up till you can't go anymore by hand. If you have a car with 4, 5, 6 bolts, you also don't want to go around. You want to go in a star pattern. If you have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case, I have 5, so start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. The reason for you do this is that if as you tighten this stuff, it creates tension. So if you tighten like these 3 bolts, it'll tighten up on this side, push this side in. And then when you tighten here at the bottom, it won't tighten properly. And then the wheel is not straight. It's actually, it tightens in at an angle. So when you drive, you get a big vibration, or you wear out your tires really early. And a lot of people wonder how that happens. Well, it could be something as simple as this. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is this one here. Okay, I'm just going to move it. Now I've gone hand tight. Now I'm going across. Hand tight. Up. So I started here, and I went here, and I'm going here. Hand tight. Down. Hand tight. Going up. Hand tight. So now these are all hand tight. You can see no more playing the wheel. It's all good and snug in there. So the next step is for us to actually go ahead and drop the car down so that we can tighten this properly. So whatever jack you're using, whether you're using an actual automotive jack, whether you're using the jack that comes with the car, whatever it is, carefully make sure there's no debris, nothing here. You don't have a foot, or you're not holding it. Some people, they may hold the tire and not realize as they're spinning. Your hand ends up under here, and then you drop the car, or you have someone who helps you. Make sure everything is clear, and then you drop. In this case, with mine, you just twist the handle, and you don't drop it all the way. You just drop it enough that the wheel is now touching, so it can't move. And then you're going to tighten up. Now, for me, I didn't get it here yet, but I have a torque wrench, and I'm going to do this in the torque specifications. For a lot of cars, if you're changing your tires for putting your spare, the lug wrench that comes with the car actually has a clicking mechanism. So you'll go and you'll start tightening. Now is when you tighten the same position. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you do the hand tight, you don't have to necessarily start back here. You start with everyone. Just make sure whatever you do, it's in a star pattern. And then you go. And normally when you go, as you reach the point where it's supposed to be at tight, it'll go the bar will actually go click, like a click noise, or a thunk noise. That means that it's as tight as it should be. So that's what we're going to do now. So obviously I won't show you that part. I got to go get my torque wrench. I didn't bring it up front here, but that's the last step really. Just tighten these now. So again, you tighten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, with my car, you put the my cover back on, tighten it up with the little screw, and that's it. You're done. That's it. That's all that's involved. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. If you have to do anything like, again, got a flat or anything like that, you're on the road. Hopefully this will help you guys not get stranded. If you have any questions or anything, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Anything that you want to see or anything you need help with, again, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around, and thank you very much for watching.